U.S. team has been playing a great pressure-trapping defense. Let's go to Madrid now. That defense will be tested when they face Oscar and all the points that Brazil can put up on the boards. And let's go to our commentators, Rick Barry and Bill Russell.
We have a packed house here at the Sports Palace in Madrid. The temperature up in the 90s, but I don't think that the players needed this temperature to be able to be turned on for this ball game. All four teams are ready to play. Two very exciting ball games. The United States going up against Brazil, and then the Soviet Union against Yugoslavia as they take the next to the last step in their quest for the gold. The United States team finds themselves in a must-win situation. They were faced with that against Canada 2 games ago, and now they must beat Brazil if they hope to go on and play for the gold in the game on Sunday. Now, Bill, what would you tell this young, inexperienced ball club they need to do to come away with a victory?
Well, first I'd say relax. Then say, now, this is a tough game, but defense got you this far, and that's going to carry the rest of the game. The better you play defense, the better off you are. The offense will take care of itself. Relax, go out and play some ball and have some fun.
Okay, to take a look at the matchups in both of the ball games, let's go to our resident coaches, Mike Fratello and Bobby Knight.
Bobby, tonight we're in for 2 great matchups. First of all, game number 1, Brazil versus the United States. The Brazilian team led by the high-scoring Oscar. We've seen him get 47 points already in this tournament. A fast-breaking, up-tempo team. We talked to their coach today. He said the biggest thing tonight, we don't want to change our game or philosophy versus the United States. We'll run and score a lot of points against them. I can see by your shirt who you're rooting for. What about the USA?
Well, I think, Mike, that the Brazilians are going to have a tough time scoring against the United States. Yugoslavia scored 105 or 106 against Italy, played the United States a couple of nights ago in Oviedo, and had a very difficult time scoring into the 60s. The teams that I've watched play over the last couple years, and Brazil is absolutely no exception, have a difficult time playing against defense that pressures the ball and pressures the passing lanes, and that's what the United States will do tonight.
Game number 2, Soviet Union versus Yugoslavia. Soviet Union by far the deepest, most balanced team in the tournament, led by their sensational center, Sabonis, balanced scoring by all 5 starters. They really show very few weaknesses.
I think Yugoslavia will score a lot of points, Mike. They're very good offensively. They have a lot of balance on the offense. If Delipagic plays well, it's a real key for Yugoslavia because he helps out Petrovic with the scoring. I don't think Russia is a very good defensive team, and really neither is Yugoslavia. This game could be well into the hundreds with both teams.
Bobby, thanks. We expect 2 great games tonight. We'll be back in a moment.
Brazil is going to be Marcel, Gerson, Israel, Mauri, and the way they pronounce it here, Oscar, the star of the team for Brazil. And the Brazilians go by one name, and that's the proper way to do it, and we don't want to offend them. For the United States, it's going to be Derek McKee from Alabama. It's going to be Charles Smith from the University of Pittsburgh, David Robinson from Navy, Tyrone Bogues from Wake Forest, and Kenny Smith out of the University of North Carolina for head coach Lute Olson. Lute, of course, ably assisted by Bobby Cremins, Jerry Prim, and also Scott Thompson, the assistant to Lute Olson at the University of Arizona. Jerry Prim from the University of California, Santa Barbara, and, of course, Georgia Tech for Bobby Cremins. Should also mention the rest of the American contingent here. The trainer is Tim Garl out of the University of Indiana, working for Bobby Knight. Dr. Tim Taft at the University of North Carolina. And the mission chief, the associate director of the ABA USA, is Tom McGrath. Officials getting ready for the tip-off in the most important game that these young men have ever played in international competition as they go for the gold in the 10th World Men's Basketball Championship, coming to you from the Sports Palace in Madrid, Spain. A very, very hot arena. Up close to 95 degrees now. And Bill, I think it's really essential to be able to get off to a good start for the United States team defensively, the way they have in the last 2 ball games when they jumped out 19-2 against Yugoslavia and 10-0 against Brazil. Well, that is critical.
Rick, with a team like this, they have to get off a good start. And the first 4 or 5 possessions, either way, offense and defense, is very important, the way they start the game.
I have a little problem with the scorer's table to start things off as they spill all of the drinks.
Hey, Rick, where have I seen that before?
Yeah, I usually spill that stuff all over me.
Well, I'm glad to know that it happens at all the tables.
Bobby, we were with the team working out today. They seemed in pretty good spirits. Luke seems confident. as Tyrone Bogue starts things off for the United States. Quickly inside, and Charles Smith misses the easy dunk. He gets another try and finishes it off. The United States off to the first basket of this, the next to the last round for the goal. With the ball is Mowry. The fans love Bogues. Marcel to Israel. Good move inside on the part of the Brazilians.
Well, I think they were concentrating so much on Oscar that they forgot about the other guys. And these other guys, Israel in particular, is what they call a garbage man. When you leave him alone, that's what hurts you the most, when you just forget about it.
Foul going against Marcel. His first personal foul, first of the ball game. McKee, not a chance. Shot that one off to the right side. Rebound pulled down by Gerson. He's the second leading rebounder in the competition. The ball thrown away. The Brazilians, a very good fast breaking team. They like to get the ball up the court very quickly. They do not play a great deal of defense, but they score a lot of points, averaging 96 points a game in the competition. The United States team, the best defensive team in the competition, giving up only 68 a game.
Oh, that's the same situation they ran with the Yugoslavs. They were a high-scoring team, and they cooled them down pretty well.
Sure did. 19-2 in the first 7.5 minutes. McKee, he got bumped, and Robinson is there. David Robinson coming off a fine performance. 18 rebounds he had in the win over Yugoslavia. Also was over 20 points from the field.
I think the Brazilians will make a lot of mistakes offensively in this game.
Bogues with the foul, reaching in from behind. There's the play again. Tyrone with the reach in, called for the foul.
That was, of all the fouls you see, that was kind of weak call there, I thought, Rick.
We've seen a lot of those throughout the competition. Very inconsistent are the officials.
But before I get on these, I'll give them a chance.
Mowry. Inside to Gerson. He ties it at 4. 7:55 remaining here in the first half. Both of these teams, again, with one loss so far in the competition. But this is the all-important game. They must win to go on to the gold medal round.
I noticed so far, Rick, when the U.S. team is double-teamed, you leave a 3-on-2 situation, and you've got to zone the other two guys. And so far, they haven't done that.
Charles Smith with a shot from 19, and they need more of that perimeter shooting. The United States team has shot very poorly in the last two ball games. 41 against Canada, in the high 30s against Yugoslavia. The long shot from the outside, not to be, by Marcel. Rebound, David Robinson. That's Kenny Smith. Three-point try, count it. The United States leads by 5 as Smith, who has been shooting poorly, comes through.
He got a break on that. He got a bad pass, or he would have had a layup.
Well, Kenny Smith was not using his legs on his shot, and we talked about it during the shoot-around today, and looks like he's got him back working as Israel misses, and a rebound to Charles Smith. The United States with a 4-on-1 break. Bogues to Robinson, and the United States leads by 7, and that's the type of play we need to see from him, Bobby.
I think the United States, Rick, has really gotten off to a great start at both ends of the floor. I think Brazil will make a lot of offensive errors that the United States will capitalize on during the course of the game.
Bad shot by Oscar. Again, 4-on-2 for the United States. Bogues. Charles Smith with a fancy move, gets it back, and is fouled. He'll go to the line. The foul going against Gerson, number 6 for Brazil.
I think we could find that Brazil will really get into some trouble here if they get down by maybe 11, 12 points very early in the ball game.
We got a timeout. 16:31 left to play in this ball game. It's the United States 11 and Brazil 4.
We'll return with more.
Even after those last two outings that they had, 3-point goals, United States the lead there, and the free throws, which has really hurt the American team badly. In fact, that was one of the main reasons they had that upset loss to Argentina when they lost 74-70. They shot only 47% from the free throw line, but now Charles Smith hits from the line, and the United States off to a good start, as Bobby pointed out, both offensively and defensively in this ball game.
Well, you know, Rick, if there are a lot of times, just a lot of times when your defense will make you shoot better because you get in a better rhythm and may have better timing.
That's our version of the Goodyear blimp shot. The miss by Mowry. Here we come back. Kenny Smith. The United States with their biggest lead of the game. They lead by 10. 14-4. And a big steal by Bogues, and it's a 12-point lead. The pressure of the United States taking its toll against Brazil. The United States team has done this in 3 consecutive games.
I think Brazil will have a very difficult time getting any offensive motion going here.
The miss by Gerson. That's Tyrone Bogues.
Tyrone Bogues has got a lot of problems for him because he's getting that ball up court so fast.
That time Kenny Smith did not use his legs on the shot. He was upright. And when he does that, he is not anywhere near as accurate. Knocked out of bounds. It's going to be Brazil's ball.
Good defensive effort because the 2 guys back, conversion on the ball.
Coming into the ball game for Brazil, it's going to be Zorinha. Zorinha is coming in, number 10. He's averaging 3.8 points a game, 6'1" guard. And you can see what has happened with the breaks for the United States. Already they're off to a 7-0 lead. 15.5 left to play here in the first half. Marcel, three-pointer, count it. His first points of the game. Cuts it to a 9-point lead for the United States.
Now this is where U.S. team has to be effective in the half-court offense. You have to be able to run the fast break and the half-court offense. And this team is, at first they were not good passes, but they've gotten better.
Bogues, and it's a 3-second violation against David Robinson. Bogues with the penetration, and Brazil will be playing a zone. They like to play the zone. They're not really a very good defensive ball club, and Lute Olson had his team working on some certain plays to make it more difficult for the Brazilians in playing that zone. Oscar with the miss. Charles Smith keeps it alive. Kenny Smith tracks it down and comes away with it. Coming away with it, Charles Smith. Bogues tries to force that one, knocked out of bounds off of Brazil.
Actually, that was a good pass intention, Rick. Good hands on the defense. It might have been an accident, but it was good hands.
One thing Bogues does that I like a lot is he penetrates against the zone. A lot of coaches don't teach that. I think it's a great idea to get up the seam of zones.
I don't think there's anything more important than using the dribble against the zone to set up the shot. And the United States is doing a better job tonight than they have at any time yet in the tournament.
McKee from the outside. Back to an 11-point lead for the United States. Brazil has missed their last 7 shots. The defensive play by Robinson against Israel. Back comes the United States. The United States playing a very patient game when they don't have the opportunities there. The kick.
One of the things that I really like to see from an offensive standpoint is the pass fake before the pass, because I think it sets up so many things.
They're looking at Sean Elliott coming into the ball game as we have a timeout on the court. 14-14 left to play here in the first half. 18 for the United States and 17 for Brazil, as Kerr also across the air to you. As you look at the field goals, 20% only for Brazil. And Bobby, all those wonderful things that you said, you're going to have to repeat as soon as we get this audio problem straightened out. But meanwhile, Bill and I will hold the ship. The United States is doing that against Brazil, 18-7. 14 minutes left to play in the first half. Robinson, he'll go to the free throw line. Israel with the foul. Here, watch the play again. Nice little spin move, and he got the paratrooper, member, Bill, and the old dues was paid by Israel.
Robinson had better foot action then, Bill, than he's had in a couple of previous games going to the bucket, but he played very well in the second half of that Yugoslavian game.
So David Robinson, who's had troubles at the free throw line throughout the tournament, shooting only 47%, continues with those problems and compounds them, but a big play by Charles Smith. 20-7, the United States with their biggest lead of the ball game right now.
Now, Bobby, do you think the Brazilians have the kind of team temperament that they can come back and challenge like the Yugoslavs did in the last game?
No, I really don't, Bill. I think they have the offensive potential with Marcel and Oscar, but I don't think they have the team attitude to be able to do it.
Oscar with the three-point shot, counted for Brazil. Back comes Charles Smith. Robinson, good tip out to Bogues, back to Robinson, and he finishes it off. Nice play.
Because he didn't have to leave the lane. Because if he hadn't passed that ball, they might have called 3 seconds.
And then he came right in under the defensive man for the pass.
Israel gets Robinson in the paratrooper club. He can't finish it off. Charles Smith strong on the boards. United States, 4 against 3. Bogues to Robinson. And Robinson again. It's 24-10. 14-point lead. Biggest of the game.
We've seen a lot of offense generated by the United States through its defensive play in these first 7 minutes.
Oscar forces one up. The basket counts. No, they say no basket. He can't believe it. That's Armin Gilliam from UNLV getting ready to come in the game. There's the play again.
Now they call it before the shot. No continuation.
Also in is Piboca. Piboca has come in for Brazil, number 7. Robinson goes to the bench as Gilliam comes in. Bogues to the bench as Tommy Amaker out of Duke comes in.
Bogues and Robinson have done an excellent job and have made a great contribution to the United States start.
Israel blocked Charles Smith, and they call a foul. And where they saw contact on that one, I have no idea. Foul against Smith. Let's watch the replay if they show it again and see if we can find the foul against Charles Smith. It looked like a great block on the part of Charles.
I thought Smith had great timing on the play and got a piece of the basketball and didn't use his body going into the shooter at all.
Israel with 3 points. And of course, was one of the times that our Spanish friends didn't have the replay for us. That overhead view of the shot going in by Israel cuts it now to a 12-point lead for the U.S. 12:45 to play here in the first half. The United States has made 10 of their last 12 shots.
Bobby, as you said earlier, one of the great things about playing against the zone is to fake the pass first, because the zone reacts and you really get a lot of things wide open. 3-point play.
Kerr, count it.
I don't think there's any question about, Bill, the necessity to be able to pass fake and shot fake both against the zone, because as you pointed out, the zone reacts to the ball, and if you can get him to move 6-8 feet, it really helps your passing lane.
Marcel with the miss. Another rebound for the U.S. team. Gilliam. Now it's Amaker to Kerr. Another three-pointer. Count it. Third three-pointer for the United States. Kerr, who has been playing well for the U.S. team, knocks another one home. 18-point lead for the United States. 12 minutes remaining. First half. Oscar, three-pointer. Follow up Marcel.
And Marcel's another one of those guys. He and Israel both like to, what you call, garbage up. If you don't keep your eye on them, they'll hurt you on the garbage.
Three-pointer, Sean Elliott, count it. The U.S. 4 for 4 from three-point range. They are turning it on. 19 points they lead by.
This is the thing that we talked about a little bit prior to the game. The United States defense would be something.
But they're going to make some creative shots tonight, it looks like.
Oscar with his 5th point. He is averaging 30. He's number 2 in the tournament at 30 points a game, 31.
Oscar was very good in the 1979 Pan American Games 7 years ago, and he still stayed as a very good basketball player offensively.
Sean Elliott is fouled as he makes a drive to the basket. Sean Elliott out of the University of Arizona plays for the coach Lute Olson, coach of the American team, that is. We'll watch the play again and the block.
Good call, because he walked after Sean Elliott made his move, got the ball, picked up his dribble. Now you can see number 7 still moving in there.
David Robinson returning for the United States team.
As the games have gotten better, David Robinson has gotten better also. You know, in the first few games over here, he wasn't that intense. But as the games have gotten more important, he's played better.
I think Robinson has improved greatly.
That's Kerr. Robinson, strong move. Yes, count it. Robinson playing fireball. He's picked right up where he left off. Here's the replay. Look how strong he goes up. Had good balance that time and finishes off the play. Piboca with the foul.
Robinson is doing a much better job using the dribble. Before, or in the first 2 or 3 games in Oviedo, the dribble wasn't taking him any place, but the last couple games it has.
Another thing he's done, he's looking before he dribbles, so to see if that zone has collapsed on him. But in the first few games in Oviedo, he was putting the ball on the floor and then looking.
Now if we get him to make the free throws, he'll be okay. That's Israel against Robinson. Robinson blocked, and they call the foul.
I think that was a pretty good call. I think Robinson had good timing, and we'll see here that he gets his arm into him right there. A little bit of the arm and the body.
The big mistake he made, Bobby, is something he's had a problem with. He left his feet to allow the man to make the move.
I think, as Bill has pointed out a lot of times, Rick, the idea with leaving the feet is a reaction, not an action. You leave your feet as a reaction to the shooter going up in the air.
You see, he ranks 3rd in the tournament in rebounding average. He now has 6 points in the ball game, and Brazil is trailing by 17. 10:35 left to play in the first half. It's been another outstanding defensive effort on the part of the United States. They've also been a force offensively, even though their free throw shooting has been poor, but they've shot exceptionally well. Armin Gilliam, nice move.
If the United States has real good patience here on offense, they're going to create all kinds of problems for Brazil's man-to-man as Amaker makes a great defensive steal.
And a good idea holding it up.
Kerr, back to Elliott.
Kerr's wide open in the corner.
Three-pointer. No. First miss for the U.S. in three-point range. They were 4 for 4. Kerr with 2 of them. One by Smith, one by Elliott. That's Marcel. Marcel again. Robinson for the United States. 3 against 2. Brazil very bad to get back. 5 rebounds for Robinson. Kerr from Amaker.
Good shot. Good shot. He pulled up, took a perfect shot.
And you know, Amaker made a great stop there and dished the ball off at just the right moment.
Biggest lead of the game. 9:40 left to play. 3-point try. Garinha, count it.
I think the Brazilians will be very, very good shooting the ball in open situations like that, but when they have a little bit of pressure, it's going to be a different story for them because, as we said, they're just not used to that kind of shot pressure.
Amaker to Kerr. Armin Gilliam uses his strength and scores again. 4 for Gilliam.
I watch a kid like Gilliam as he gets better and better as he understands how this game is played.
Gilliam's done a great job in these last 3 games for the United States coming off the bench.
Bobby, I think that's because he's beginning to understand how international ball is played.
And I think using his strength to the best advantage.
Derek McKee back in for Sean Elliott for the United States team. Coming in, Rolando for the Brazilian team, along with Vito. The United States has made their last 6 two-point attempts.
See, this is a time where I don't think you can afford to take a guy like Oscar out of the ball game. I think he's got to be allowed to stay in. I think that Marcel has always got to be allowed to stay in. He is in the game, but Oscar's got to be in there too. They're down 20. This is no time to give somebody a rest at the score.
I don't think it's a rest, Bobby.
I'll vote for that, Bobby. McKee to the basket. No basket. Foul on the way to the hoop. That's going to be, the 6th team foul against Brazil. 4 against the United States. Here's the play again.
Hey,
there's the reach.
Too bad they don't have a continuation. Hey, Bobby, you know, I think that this defense that the United States is putting on is one of those things you can watch it from the sidelines, but until you get out there and face it, you have no idea what it's like.
That's
17-footer, Amaker.
I don't think there's any question about that, Bill. You can't duplicate really good defense in practice unless you play it yourselves, and the Brazilians don't.
Biggest lead of the game for the U.S. Israel. And that time Robinson stayed down, made him change it, gets the rebound. Good defense. This time Brazil's back reasonably well defensively. Kerr, 2-point shot. Israel with the rebound to Marcel.
Amaker stopped well at the middle again.
Garinha, 3-pointer. Rebound, Rolando. No angle on that shot. Stolen, laid back up. Marcel misses the shot. Knocked out of bounds. It's going to be Brazil's ball.
You got to give them credit on that one. They just stayed with that because they didn't make any of 3 shots, and they just got the ball back and hustled time and time again.
Saw Lute Olson getting ready to send Charles Smith back in. The 3-pointer by Marcel, no good. The rebound to McKee.
And the USA is doing a great job on the boards, both ends of the court.
8 minutes remaining, first half. It's been a most impressive performance as Israel commits the foul against Robinson. That'll be the 7th foul against Brazil. One more, and they'll be in the penalty.
Rick, I think one of the reasons the United States got off to a great start was because McKee hit 2 really good jump shots in the beginning of the ball game. One was a 3-point play, and we've not had that kind of shooting from that 3rd guy often enough, but to get it from the start of the game was very important.
Charles Smith also hit one, about a 19-footer. 7:50 remaining here in the first half. The United States in control, leading by 22. 3-pointer by Kerr, so he made his first 2s, missed his last 2.
But that was a shot taken as an afterthought. That wasn't a shot really set up and go right into it.
Oscar back in the game for Brazil, number 14. He averages 30 a game, or has been in this competition. That's Israel over Robinson. Terrible shot. Kerr rebound. And they call a jump ball, as reaching over the back was Paulinho.
Bill, I think that Robinson has kept his feet well in this game, and he's got people a little reluctant to shoot around him right now.
Now you see the tie-up for the jump ball.
Amaker did a great job coming off the bench the first half, I thought, Bobby.
Oh, did a really good job coming in at both ends of the floor. He jarred the ball loose a couple times and really set up the break well for 3 different baskets.
He gets a rest as Tyrone Bogues, affectionately known as Muggsy, comes in the game, and he has been a real force defensively. And there goes Muggsy. Muggsy with the speed, blows away, and is fouled from behind by Nilo, number 4 for Brazil, who has just entered the ball game. The speed of Tyrone Bogues, too much for Milo. Here it is again. He just blew right past him, and a rather ticky-tack foul, actually, and he should have made that shot.
Well, Rick, if somebody puts, if you're not a real scorer, and they put their hand in your back, it doesn't take much to throw you off.
Well, I'll tell you what, that wasn't very much, Bill.
I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, Rick. He's a non-shooter, okay?
Yes, he is a fine passer. Of course, he was 3rd in the nation in assists, averaging 8.4. In fact, he set a record in the ACC, the most ever by any player. He got 17 against North Carolina.
Bill, you and Rick don't mind if I refer to us as we occasionally, since I'm the chairman of the player selection committee, do you?
We don't mind at all, Bobby. You can do it despite what anybody else may say. It's okay with us. You have our approval. Well, we're leading 44-21 right now. It's United States over Brazil, as Brazil has had a difficult time handling the pressure of the United States defense, as have had a lot of teams in that department. They have been outstanding. Block. Robinson against Nilo. Kenny Smith, who has come in, takes it home.
In your face.
25-point lead for the United States. 6:50 remaining first half. This has been awesome. Oscar with the shot. Foul beforehand. It's going to be against McKee.
I think we've seen a great example here of how an offense can be keyed by a defense and how a team can be thoroughly demoralized by defensive play. Used to watch number 6 do that an awful lot.
Of course, referring to Bill Russell, my partner, Israel hits from the baseline. Cuts it back to a 23-point lead. The U.S. has doubled the output of Brazil here in the first 13.5 minutes of this ball game. This is Rick Barry along with Bobby Knight, Bill Russell. Mike Fratello is also with us. You'll be hearing from him as the broadcast goes along. Bogues to Smith. That's Charles Smith. The rebound comes off to Rolando.
Mike made a good point here that Robinson might be tiring a little bit and might be in need of a rest. He's done a great job thus far.
That was McKee just throwing Oscar out of the way as Oscar tried to post up. Here's the play in the middle of your screen now. I'll watch McKee right there. Very obvious foul.
Rick, that might not be a bad foul either. Give him something else to think about besides how he's going to get free.
I don't think Oscar is a real tough combatant. He's not a warrior. He's a pacifist.
That's why I thought it might not be a bad idea after watching his demeanor.
Actually, only the 2nd personal against McKee.
We'll send Oscar to the peace conference, not the war council.
Israel. Foul called against Robinson. That will be Robinson's 2nd personal foul.
Now, I think they should get him out of there. I think he might be a little tired. At least I would think so, Bobby.
Well, he was on the bench for a while. He just returned a couple of minutes ago, Bill. So obviously Lute Olson maybe have heard you because he's sending Armin Gilliam to the scorer's table right now.
I think we'll see Gilliam coming in for Robinson, and I think Bill's point is well made. I think he's referring to the fact that if Oscar was getting some easy shots, he'd be playing a little harder than he is right now.
Sean Elliott. Charles Smith has it knocked away. It will be America's ball on the side.
Now, Rick, the reason I say things like that is that this game is played by people and a bunch of kids, and there's some things that you've got to factor in. It's temperament, strength of personality, and all this kind of stuff, is because that's the way they play the game.
Also very hot in the building, up in the mid-90s down on the court. The steal, right back, it goes to Gilliam. And
he
Gilliam
just took that one.
It's another one. Gilliam with 6 points.
That's one you unwrapped from the ribbon because that was a real gift. The Brazilian kid did a great job anticipating Gilliam's pass, and Gilliam did not read the defense very well.
Paulinho with the ball. That's Oscar. Rebound, Charles Smith. Bogues. The fans love him. Kenny Smith. He used his legs. When he used his legs, Bobby, he can flat out shoot it.
Smith has got a much better rhythm tonight than he had, Rick, against the Yugoslavians.
9 points, and that's, again, because of the legs.
I think, Rick, besides the legs, I think he's not feeling very much defensive pressure. And that always changes your shot, a little defensive pressure.
Well, he had open shots in the ball game against Yugoslavia, and he wasn't dropping them.
They were open, but they weren't open, Rick. They were open, not necessarily when you want them to be open.
And I think he missed a couple where he did have fairly decent shots, and I think that got to him a little bit, and I think that affected his shooting as the game wore on.
That was his first personal foul, talking about Kenny Smith. And Gilliam reaching in, commits the foul, sending Israel to the line.
Now, Gilliam, hopefully, will learn from that one, is that go after the ball.
He really tiptoed after
Right,
it.
he tiptoed after it. And that's when things happen to you, when you're standing around or you're tiptoeing after things.
Now, I can imagine what it's like down on the court, fella. I don't know about you, but I'm dripping wet up here in our...
But Rick, you got to remember, up here where we are, hot air rises.
Okay.
Russ, I can assure you one thing. One of the first things I'm going to tell our inside players on our first practice October 15th is that when you stand around, bad things happen to you. That's a great point that you made very early when I've been working with you and Rick, and I'll pass it on to my players as soon as I can. No, I think that was a ludicrous call for an intentional foul. I think that...
Intentional foul against the United States, and Brazil will get the ball after those 2 free throws.
It was
United States leading 50-26.
Now, I think it's kind of important, Rick, 5 minutes to go, that they keep it over 20 points for halftime.
Absolutely.
And then that way the Brazilians don't get any fancy ideas.
They go in at the half just thinking about trying to play and win the bronze medal. You don't want to give them any thought whatsoever of getting back in this.
That's Nilo. He gets it back to Gerson, who has come in number 6.
Gilliam has very good footwork playing the defensive post.
And the block by Charles Smith, and the bounce goes in on the shot.
But he went to sleep on his shot and missed the block out right there.
Israel with the tip in as Oscar forced one up. He made a good hook, didn't get called for it. It's a 22-point lead for the United States. Their biggest lead was 26.
Got to get the ball off the right side and move it over to the left a little bit.
Gilliam, tough bounce. Israel with another rebound.
It's really important that you attack both sides of the zone. You take it in one way and take it back.
Israel. Sean Elliott to Kenny Smith, 3 against 1. Bogues in the middle. Bogues to Kenny Smith, who takes it home.
I love to see a fast break run like that.
Bogues did a great job taking it toward the left lane and then slipping it back to the right lane. He took the defensive man out of it completely, as we see here in the replay. 11
for Kenny Smith. We have a timeout on the court. 4:12 left to play here in the first half. The United States dominating Brazil 52-28 in their quest for the goal.
Role against Brazil. David Robinson obviously came to play tonight, and I think the European teams and now the South American teams are having trouble dealing with a 5-foot 3-inch guard who penetrates and dishes off as well as Tyrone Bogues. He has really added a lot to the game tonight. Steve Kerr's 3-pointers aren't hurting either. So the U.S. looking good against Brazil. We'll be going back to that ball game. Remember, they are playing in the final. However, has gone cold early in the second half. There was an extra long halftime in that game due to a power failure and loss of lights in Madrid. They have them back up. I don't know if that had any effect on the U.S. team, but they're struggling a little bit right now. Let's go back to Madrid. Here's Rick Barry and Bill Russell.
The U.S. team now has gone 5 minutes and 40 seconds without a point. They throw it away. Another chance for Brazil. You talk about a Jekyll and Hyde performance.
Well, I really didn't think the Brazilians would be able to get back in the game, and they may not. But I think that delay and the fact that the United States didn't get anything down the first 4 possessions really hurt them when they had good chances.
Well, all of a sudden, the Brazilians, with some life, they may get that emotion back, and if they do, the United States will indeed have their work cut out. Big play, Kerr, and a foul is going to be called. Though they call backcourt against Brazil, U.S. ball. Looked like Marcel had grabbed Kerr.
You had to have the eyes of Superman to make that call.
Hey, or the creativeness of some of the fine artists at the Prado. There's the shooting right now. The United States, obviously, not shooting well.
Recognizing the creativity of artists has not been one of my strong points. I'm glad you're familiar with that.
Well, some of us have to try and get some culture while we're here in this city. 13:50. The United States still not on the scoreboard yet in this half. Robinson goaltending is called against Pivoka. The first points for the U.S. come on a goaltending call. Robinson with 12. There's the play again, and Pivoka, the ball was inside the cylinder as he hit the rim, the net, and the ball.
Now the United States has got to come up with the ball a couple of times and get some pressure through its break on the Brazilians.
Well, they can crush any type of an advantage they may have given Brazil here in this half with some good defense. There's a good play, knocked out of bounds by Robinson.
Really great help by Robinson. He was moving on the pass. One of the keys to good defensive help is move on the pass, not after the ball has been received by the postman.
That's Oscar, three-pointer, counted, and he's pumped. 12-point lead, the closest the Brazilians have been since early in this ball game when the United States came out and took control from the start. They led by 23 at the half, and they make another bad play as McKee throws it away. Three-pointer Marcel over the back, Biboka, no foul. Gerson with the rebound. Backcourt.
He was back on defense.
So two costly backcourt violations for Brazil, giving the U.S. another opportunity to try and increase their lead, which stands at 12. They have blown 11 points of that 23-point lead in the first 6 minutes and 57 seconds of this second half.
I really don't think that
has been called.
I don't think that Brazil's emotion has played a great part in that. I think the United States has just been so flat offensively and has had its movement just almost dissipate entirely compared to what it was in the first half, that they've allowed Brazil to get back in the game rather than Brazil forcing its way back in.
And Kerr, who was an 89% free throw shooter at the University of Arizona, has shot 2 technical free throws before in another ball game, missed them both. Now he gets to shoot a technical foul, misses again. That technical was on Oscar.
That was a real brick he threw up then, Bobby. We're talking not just chipping the paint, it's like using a scraper on it.
And the third point for the U.S. here in the second half in the first 7 minutes of play. 2 came on a goaltending on a Robinson shot, and the free throw by Kerr, the U.S. by 13. They still need to play some good defense here and hold the Brazilians. Three-pointer, Oscar, count it. It's down to 10. The closest Brazil has come. 12:45 to play. Brazil starting to play with a lot more intensity. Defensively, that is. They're not known for that. Shot clock down to 10. McKee from 9. That's the big basket. Back up to 12. McKee with 4.
The United States really has to pick up the tempo on half-court offense. They're coming into it slowly, and they're moving the ball slowly once they get into it.
Gerson against Charles Smith. Garenya misses from the outside. Rebound goes to Charles Smith.
That was blocked a little bit, Rick.
The outlet and the getaway are much slower than they were in the first half on the break for the U.S.
They got into the offense much quicker that time. Good penetration on the part of Kerr. He'll go to the line. Foul Marcel. Here's it again.
They're starting to pick their pace up a little bit, Bobby, but I thought in the second half they started out not nearly. I expected them to be down a bit, but not as much as they were down.
You see Jerry Pym on the left of your screen and Lute Olson, the head coach, in the middle, and they are very concerned, I'm sure, with the way that this U.S. team has come out here at the start of the second half. If you just joined us, the U.S. went out to a 23-point lead by dominating from the opening tip-off. And then at the start of the second half, they went 7.5 minutes, only scoring 3 points.
I really agree with you, Russ. I think that our play at the start of the second half really enabled the Brazilians to get back into it as much as anything.
And, of course, there was a long delay at the half because of a power failure here at the building, and that could have had something to do with the U.S. team losing that edge that they may have had. Marcel, great pass underneath as he finds Garenya.
Lost a man.
That's where vision is so important defensively. You've got to turn the head and see what's behind you, what's beside you, as well as watching the ball.
Charles Smith comes right back. That's goaltending. Counts the basket. Back up to a 14-point lead. Charles Smith has 9.
And in a way, the Brazilians have let the Americans back into the...
Oscar with 22.
Excuse me, Rick, I have yet to see Oscar make any kind of emotion when somebody else does something on his team.
Robinson with the lean-in move. Are you saying, Bobby, that he's a very self-centered individual, perhaps?
I think Oscar is a rather egotistical basketball player.
We'll ask you what you really think when we have a timeout. Oscar is fouled by Derek McKee. Coming into the game is Paulinho, number 9, for the Brazilian team. Third personal foul for Kerr.
We've talked a little bit about the United States not running, but Brazil has shot very well and scored, I think, on 7 of its last 8 possessions. And when you're sticking in the net, it's hard to run from it. But we come down rather slowly and just don't get into the offense with the same enthusiasm and quickness that we did in the first half.
That third foul was on McKee, not on Kerr. 11-point lead for the United States. Still plenty of time for Brazil. A 23-point lead dissipated very quickly. Three-pointer, Kerr, counted. Most helpful. Kerr with his third three-pointer of the ball game. He now has 14 points. 6 here in the second half. Did a good job coming off the bench as the U.S. was struggling offensively. Gerson with the screen. That's Paulinho, number 9.
Now, McKee has got to do the same job on Oscar. He's getting behind him a lot that he did on Delapagic in the Yugoslavian game. Just keep him from getting the basketball. Don't give him that opportunity to look at you, get a half a step, and then go up with it.
Here's the play again on the move by Garinha. The foul, and they say no basket. Now, he had definitely started his move to the hoop, so
yeah, but that's a continuation. That was a continuation play, Rick. He was still dribbling when he fouled him.
10 minutes left to play. Brazil trails by 12. Oscar with 17 already here in the second half. The Brazilians asking their fans to keep cheering, trying to get them back into this one. 9:25 to play. The U.S. seemingly in control by 23 at the half. All of a sudden has made a ball game out of this due to their inefficient play, or ineffective play to start the second half.
The guards just aren't generating the kind of offense that they did in the first half. They just can't settle for that kind of shot.
Kerr, not a good shot. Oscar gets the long pass to Paulinho. It's down to 8. 15 points have disappeared from that lead for the United States. 8:55 to play. Tyrone Bogues looking on, very concerned, along with Arvin Gilliam, ready to come in for the U.S. team. And this is what gives coaches gray hairs.
Well, our inside players, Rick, are just trotting toward the ball. There are no sharp cuts at all inside. We're not setting up the defense, and there's very little screening. Completely away from what we did in the first half.
McKee with a big jump shot from the outside. And the official horn had blown. There's a timeout on the court with 8:35 left to play. The United States all of a sudden finds that they have a game on their hands. They're 23.5 left. The U.S. lead down to 10, 76-66. Mike Fratello has not been a pretty sight here.
No, but we've seen this happen before with the Brazilian team. Oscar is instant offense. Once he gets it revved up the way he has now, he has a little bit of excitement, emotion to his team. They all play extremely hard. The United States team has gone cold to start the second half. We need to generate some offense through our defense. Very few fast breaks for the United States.
Well, they have no points off the fast breaks. 10 for Brazil. You saw the 24-0 edge for Brazil in the first half. This has not been a U.S.-type tempo ball game.
Rick, Coach Vidal at that timeout was really enthusiastic in his approach to his players. He was tough on them. He was really getting after them, and I think he deserves an awful lot of credit for getting the Brazilian team back into this game.
Garinha over Robinson. Back to an 8-point lead. Garinha has 11. I'm sure Bogues is brought back in to try and speed the tempo up, and they've got to play some better defense.
We just have to have a little better cutting and screening inside than we've been getting.
McKee, good move to get Oscar in the paratrooper club, makes him pay the dues. 8 points for McKee. He's hit 2 big jump shots for the U.S. cause here as Paulinho goes up against Kerr.
What the United States hasn't been able to do is follow up a basket with a good defensive play and a break yet in this half.
We'll see if they can accomplish that right now. 3-point try. Not to be, and it's going to go back to Garinha, who took the shot himself. 3-pointer, Oscar. Rebound, Robinson, foul over the back. And that's going to be against Piboca, number 7. That's going to be the 7th team foul against Brazil. You saw Pivoka pushing against Robinson. Both teams will be in the penalty from this point forward, and the fourth foul against Pivoka.
You made a very good point earlier, Rick, when you said that the Brazilians had actually picked up the intensity of their man-to-man defense considerably over the first half. They've stayed in it and played it better in the second half here than any of the defenses they've played thus far in the game.
Gilliam on a back cut was wide open, knocked out of bounds, but a foul is going to be called. It's going to go against Paulinho, number 9. That will send Gilliam to the free throw line. However, he's had a lot of problems there. There's the play.
Are they giving the free throws? Are they calling it on the shot? Because he wasn't shooting.
As he reached in, it's the 1-and-1. First foul against Pivoka. He goes out. Marcel is back in. Israel back in also as Pivoka goes to the line, to the bench.
Well, they're
and
calling
they're
on
going to
the
take it
side.
out of bounds. Coach Lute Olson decided to take the ball out of bounds rather than the free throws by Gilliam. Gilliam had been 0 for 2 from the free throw line. 7 minutes left to play. The U.S. leading by 10. They had led by 23 at the half. Bogues. Gilliam with the tip in. That would have been goaltending other than international rules, but a great play by Gilliam. Oscar, count the basket. He'll go to the free throw line. He has 30. He's at his average. 21 here in the second half.
Oscar has, I'll give this to him in the second half. I really don't particularly care for him as a player, but he has really taken it to the United States offensively and has scored well and has worked hard to get what he's gotten in the second half.
Third foul against Robinson. Official checking with the scorer's table. And the basket is counting. They signal count the basket.
With Bogues in the game right now, I think it'll be important that the United States spread the court a little bit offensively, at least for that first 15 or 20 seconds, trying to get some penetration like Bogues got the last time, so they can go to the bucket and then dish it off, take it in, get some opportunities to go after things on the ring here.
Oscar 31, only a 9-point lead for the United States, 6:35 to play. United States must win this game to stay alive in their quest for the gold. They will meet the winner of the second game, which will be between the USSR and Yugoslavia. Shot clock is down to 8. McKee, foul against Oscar. Oscar with the foul sends McKee to the line because we are in the penalty. He was in the act of shooting also. There's the fake, the move in, and Oscar with the foul. McKee from the free throw line, if you're wondering, because the U.S. has been so inefficient there, is shooting 68% so far in the tournament. And he's hit 2 big baskets, and that free throw helps as well.
And, you know, an interesting thing here to me, sitting up where we are, Rick, the Brazilian crowd over here on the balcony to our left has really maintained a constant, steady uproar since this second half started, even though down by 23.
Yeah, well, they started it, they've been having it through the whole game, all through the halftime. Very loyal group, and there'll be some tired musicians banging on all of those percussion instruments. That's Marcel with the ball. We're coming up on the 6-minute mark left in this contest. 3-point try, Garinha. Rebound, Gerson. Taken away by Bogues. 3-on-2 for the U.S. Gilliam on the right, Kerr on the left. Bogues is fouled by Marcel. Bogues, from the free throw line, has only taken 4 free throws in the competition. Here's the foul.
That's a deliberate foul if I ever saw one.
Absolutely. I thought that should have been called an intentional foul.
Now, when he grabs him, he just grabs him. See, that's a deliberate foul if there ever was one there.
And that's exactly what they're calling, Bill. They must have heard you, because Bogues will get the intentional foul shots. That will also give the U.S. possession of the ball. A very costly mistake, and it's the first free throw Tyrone has missed in these championships.
This is a big opportunity still for the United States to come up with 3 points if they can get the bucket here after Bogues dropped in the free throw. Get that thing back up around 15.
They lead by 11. We have a timeout being called now. 5:51 remaining. U.S. 83, Brazil 71. The United United States and Brazil, a game that saw the U.S. take control early, lead by 23 at the half, and then a long delay at halftime seemed to disrupt the U.S. team's momentum. They played very poorly at the start of the game, couldn't even get a point for over 5 or 6 minutes, and now their lead is at 12. It was cut to 8 at one point.
Brazil has done a good job of taking away the feeds the United States is trying to set up from the high post into the low post situation.
10 seconds on the shot clock for the United States team. It's at 5. Gilliam with an 18-footer. That's not the shot they want. Gerson with the rebound for Brazil.
We needed a basket on that one, Bobby.
Needed a much better offensive flow that time, Russ, than the United States had.
And you would think after a timeout you would have a much better offensive play. Not that Coach Luke Olson didn't call one, but the players didn't run it. There's that moving screen. They call the foul on McKee. The player with the ball is moving. That is a moving as a violation on the part of the man with the ball.
The Brazilians have been able to get a lot out of the dribble exchange, but it's always been with that moving pick, with the screener turning with his back into the defensive man, literally picking him off as he goes by.
And they better learn how to handle that one, because the Soviet Union team, should they win this game, and the Soviets, when they do that a lot as well.
And the Soviets are going to be doing it with a little bit bigger bodies than the Brazilians are.
4 fouls against McKee. Oscar to the free throw line. He has 31 points.
It'll be 33 when we get through this brace.
6 for 6 for the line for Oscar. Cuts it back down now to an 11-point lead. We'll make it it should be a 10-point lead. I haven't put the score up on the scoreboard, I don't think. Well, now it is up there. It is a 10-point lead for the U.S. coming up with 5 minutes remaining in this contest. That was good defense by Garinha on Bogues. Kerr in the game. It's Charles Schmidt. Robinson has gone out as Gilliam inside. That's the move they need.
Really a strong move by Gilliam, going right up through the arm of the defender.
10 for Gilliam. Marcel gets it to Israel. Israel can't get the drop. Gets it back, and he'll go to the free throw line. Reaching in behind, Charles Smith commits the foul for the United States. 4.5 left to play. There's Charles reaching in right now, banging Israel as he muscles up.
The United States has gone to 3 guards here with Kerr, Bogues, and Smith, trying to get things spread out a little bit. They've taken the 3rd guy out of the inside of their offense. Usually they're running from a triangular setup inside, and now they'll be running from a double pivot with the post exchange inside using Gilliam and Smith, but they still got to keep things spread and give those guards a chance to go to the bucket with the ball.
Good strong rebound by Gilliam.
He's done a great job again, the United States team in his reserve capacity, as Israel misses a big free throw for Brazil. 4:20 left to play. 11-point lead for the U.S. It was 23 at the half. Kerr, nice move inside. Looked like he twisted his ankle or hurt his knee or something. He's in excruciating pain on the court. It looked like he twisted his knee. Kerr has injured his right knee. U.S. has the ball. Coming out, Tim Garl, also Tim Taft, the team doctors on the sideline.
See what happened to him.
It just looked like the knee
when he went up.
Nobody hit him, and that could be very costly to the U.S. hopes for the gold medal.
It looks like the tear in a lateral ligament right there, or the lateral cartilage, rather. I don't think it'd be a ligament tear, but that could be something. It looked like as he went up, Bill said he didn't get hit, and that could have been a prior tear that just all of a sudden gave way right there.
Right there as he jumped up, he went, the knee went inside. I think that's the medial. The medial, the lateral is the inside knee. See the foul, I mean the play as Kerr is down on the court. The inside portion of his knee is the one that gave way.
But the medial collateral is a ligament, and I don't think we're kind of going back and forth here. None of us are qualified to say whether it's a ligament or a cartilage, but I would guess if it was a cartilage, it would have a prior tear in it, and then did tear on that little move.
And a very nice move on the part of Oscar to help Kerr off the court. Some nice sportsmanship on the part of the leading scorer for the Brazilian team. He has 33 points, and a very nice gesture indeed as his team trails by 11.
So a very tough break for the United States basketball team as Steve Kerr goes down with a knee injury. Obviously, as you heard our analysts there, Rick Barry, Bill Russell, Mike Fratello, Bob Knight, all of them have a lot of experience with injuries, but obviously none of them are on the floor. We do not know the extent of the Steve Kerr injury. We will check on it. Of course, he's the guard who played for Lute Olson at Arizona, the key three-point shooter for the United States, who's been playing well the last couple of ball games. That could be a tough injury if the U.S. can go on and hold on to defeat Brazil and then go face either the Soviet Union or Yugoslavia in that World Championship gold medal game. We'll keep you up to date on this ball game. We'll also check on the injury to the gold medal championship game on Sunday. For the bad